Disclaimer: the content provided in this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. While we discuss topics related to mental health advice, life wisdom, and alike, the opinions expressed are personal views of the hosts and do not constitute professional, legal, or medical advice. We make no representations or warranties about the accuracy or completeness of the information discussed. Any action you take based on the information in this podcast is strictly at your own risk, and we are not liable for any losses or damages in connection with its use. Additionally, this podcast may contain discussions around addictions, substances, which are intended for adult audiences. We do not endorse any illegal activities. Please consult your local laws before engaging in any actions related to this content. By listening to this podcast, you agree that you are over the age of 18 or the age of majority in your jurisdiction and understand the terms of this disclaimer.
Welcome to the Balancing Forces podcast, where two opposites collide in the best way possible. One brings the fire,
the other keeps it chill.
But together we share life's lessons, hard-earned wisdom,
advice you can actually use.
Whether you need a fresh perspective or just a laugh, we're here to elevate your mind. So buckle up, because things are about to get real and
really funny.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're doing all the things to manifest? Journaling, visualizing, raising your vibe? But your dream still feels like a really cute cloud that just keeps drifting out of reach? That's not your fault. You're manifesting with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, of vision, of dreaming big and feel good. And yes, Jupiter is the party. It's that high frequency energy that says, you can have more, you are meant for more. But here's the truth. Jupiter gives you the dream, but Saturn builds the damn road. Saturn is structure. Saturn is systems. Saturn is showing up even when you don't feel like it. Saturn says, you want it? Cool. Let's get to work. Real manifestation? It's a cosmic collab. Jupiter for the vision, Saturn for the follow-through. You don't just need the vibe. You need the vessel to hold it. So ask yourself, are you dreaming or building? The universe isn't just listening. It's watching what you build. Manifestation isn't just vibes, it's engineering your evolution. Inside the Alchemist Laboratory, we don't just vibe high and journal pretty affirmations. We build systems for your soul. We map transits into the body using your solar map so you know when to dream and when to design. And we help you create sustainable magic, not just spiritual highs. Chapter 39. Every shared experience is a cord binding two people together, making unbinding tricky. One of the reasons that breakups are so doggone hard is that every shared experience that two people have is one more cord that wraps around the two of them. The more difficult, challenging, or delightful the experience, the stronger the cord that goes around. The more emotionally charged the experience, the stronger the cord. Again and again, round and round, the cords go. So when it comes time to break up, when the mountains of manure between two people become so large and so acrid that they simply cannot stand it any longer, the breakup demands the breaking or unbinding of the cords. The more the cords, the harder it is to unbind. An extreme amount of energy or negative experiences is required to undo the cords. Or, done rightly and least painfully, a massive amount of energy and deliberate positive effort is required to talk out, listen, forgive, and step their way through a breakup. The shift in beliefs necessary to end a relationship. The reason a person will blow up a relationship before they will actually exit it gracefully and by deliberately talking out their desire to leave is because deep down in their core beliefs, they still believe that their desires are not warranted. They believe that what they want, specifically in this case, to leave a relationship that no longer feeds their soul, is irrelevant. They believe, essentially, that the needs of others are, ever and always, more important than their own needs, wants, and feelings. I don't want to hurt those I love by doing what I most want to do. This lack of belief in my own value manifests as not wanting to disappoint those people around me who might be sad about the ending of the relationship, such as the kids, parents, in-laws, and friends. It also manifests as not wanting to hurt my spouse by leaving him or her. For even though I may no longer be in love, I do still love them. However, What's underneath this fear of hurting those I love is that persistent fear that drives all others. What will they say? More specifically, if I hurt or disappoint those I love or those who love me, they will think less of me and criticize me. And it is that fear of criticism that is causing you to stay stuck in this dead or dying relationship. It is not really the fear of hurting and disappointing them that keeps you stuck. It's the fear of what they'll say to you and about you when you hurt them. Your fear of disappointing them is really driven by what they'll think or say about you after you disappoint them. That is what you fear, those words. But there's one more, even deeper piece that makes ending a relationship so vexing for some. It goes right down to those core beliefs and the three binary gates. The fear of hurting those I love is driven by the belief that doing so would be selfish, and I have to always be selfless. Selfish is bad. Do I really matter enough to hurt someone else, particularly my own children, residually, to serve my own needs? Surely I don't matter enough to justify hurting someone else. This is one of life's heavy questions. And the simple fact of the matter is that, of course, you have to matter to yourself to do this. More, it's impossible to go through life without hurting others. Further, how much damage is being done, both to yourself and others, by not taking this action? How much harm is being done by this ugly status quo you are in? There are those times in life where we simply have to take a seemingly selfish action to engage a market correction or course correction. And yes, there is pain, particularly in the short term, but when greater truth is seized and moved toward, it leads to greater peace, purpose, and joy for all parties. It just usually takes a while. This fear of what seems to be a selfish action is a great mistake. I think we have this profound misunderstanding of selfishness. It is far too black and white, far too either or. When working with a client, I like to take a blank piece of paper, turn it sideways, and draw a line from left to right in the middle of the paper. At the far left of this continuum, I write the words totally selfless. At the far right end, I write totally selfish, and I place a little X in the dead center of the continuum. I then go on to explain that any supposedly selfish or selfless act exists within the greater context of who a person is. If you have a person who is generally a very selfless person, or even totally a selfless person, not that that's fully possible, but you get the point, and then they do something very selfish, it moves them only slightly towards the middle of the continuum. With the greater context of a long time of selflessness, one or two big supposedly selfish acts do little to move the needle anywhere near being totally selfish, even if they feel totally selfish by doing these one or two acts. They're acting so out of character that it feels inside them like a violation of humanity. But the totally selfless person needs to move more towards the center of the continuum. Yes, needs, but the totally selfless person needs to move more toward the center of the continuum. Yes, needs to be more selfish. And it's never a static position in the dead center. It's always this oscillation between selfishness and selflessness, one side feeding the other side of one's character and spirit. The person who is too selfless is unhappy and depressed precisely because they are so selfless, precisely because their core beliefs and three binary gates hold the belief that they don't matter enough, if it at all, to act in their own interest at times. And the craziest thing happens when an extremely selfless person does something supposedly selfish. Everyone around her, especially the person feeling most hurt or with the most to lose, shouts, "You're being so selfish," even though the person is nowhere near being even halfway selfish. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, when the person who is generally extremely selfish does the slightest selfless thing, and he proclaims to the heavens and all who will listen, "See how selfless I am," even though that lone selfless act sits in a giant context of selfishness. If that selfish person acts true to character, any remotely selfless lone act will be followed by many times of reminding the receiver of how selfless he is. The very selfish person hoards love and protects the love cup from anyone who might presume to steal even the tiniest ounce from his or her cup. They have known the effect of the hole in the bottom and know that every dash of love can quickly vanish, so they steal it whenever they can. The very selfless person, on the other hand, too loosely pours it out to others, hoping to get some love in return for their selflessness. The selfless person never experiences the love cup filling up, only lack. Both the selfish and selfless suffer from broken and crud encrusted love cups. And so, the simple truth is that if you have spent your life making others more important than you, constantly serving them at great price to yourself, and you only seem to be getting more and more unhappy, you need to do more for yourself. It is not selfishness, as we generally tend to think of it, it's necessary tending of the soul. And it all starts with the changing of your core beliefs and the three binary gates to reflect the simple truth that who you really are actually matters. You need to be bold enough to stand up and say, I matter. The real me matters. I am good, and the real me is wanted, most especially by me. From there, it is necessary to start making decisions and choosing actions consistent with that belief. Do this one thing of finally mattering to yourself, and everything changes. Change the core belief, and nothing is ever the same. Song recommendation: another intense Peter Gabriel song, Blood of Eden. Buy it and get the lyrics too. Really great stuff, particularly the duet in the middle. So remember, we're giving away this signed autograph copy of There's a Hole in My Love Cup. To enter, just like, subscribe, and comment. Also, sign up for our Beacons link to get into the giveaway. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stay amazing, stay awesome, and remember always to keep it real.